Hello, my name is Blake. Let's talk about the laziest digital products you can sell online. In no order, but they all are pretty lazy. I'd love to hear your laziest products. Number one, visual merch. What is this? This is not a shirt I bought online, but it could have been. It's for a casino. I have sold these shirts online. Still sell them to this day. Don't be a shithead. They're through Teespring or something like that. Back in 2014, I sold Kanye for President bumper stickers. I sold These Nuts bumper stickers. I sold stuff like that online using Teespring, maybe again, I'm not sure. Some drop shipping visual merch company. You can sell, Redbubble does it. You can sell stickers. You can sell binders, coffee mugs for sure, shirts, socks, blankets, pillows, all this stuff. You do it one time. If you are not creative, you can pay someone to do it, and then you sell stuff. Now, what are your obstacles with this? What makes it not lazy? How are you going to market it? The way I marketed, this is, at this point over 10 years ago, but the way I marketed those Kanye for President stickers and the D's Nuts for President stickers were, I found newspaper online websites that had discuss comment sections where you could post links, and I said oh, this is so funny, you gotta look at this. Or sometimes I'd say what kind of idiot thought of this? Because a lot of the times the people who are gonna buy this stuff, they're contrarians. At least in this case, they were contrarian. So if I posed myself as the contrarian option, this dummy, and then the person's actually it's funny. Actually, it's called parody art. Don't you know what a parody is? If you can position yourself, if you can be the best choice for your audience, and you can find a way to directly funnel them, if you can isolate that demographic and directly funnel to your checkout, that's the best way you can do it. That's how you got to market these things. Obviously, if you have a personal brand, that's super simple. Just go on, insert social media platform, and funnel away. But you might have to get more creative. You might have to create a Facebook group for people who like fishing, and then sell stickers of fish, stuff like that. Is it the laziest? I don't know. You tell me. Number two, short form ebook content. Why do I say short form? Because long form isn't so lazy. It's a bit involved. You have to know things. With short form, you can much more easily just be mirroring publicly available information. For example, recipes. I've got 24 antique vintage recipe books that if I had time, I would scan, steal the recipes, recombobulate them with some kind of text spinner, and then rewrite them with OpenAI. Maybe I wouldn't even need to spin them. I probably could just say, rewrite this. Something novel. Norwegian recipes, Middle Eastern recipes, low-cal, diet, high protein, keto, whatever. Short form, very lazy stuff. You do this one time, you make a good cover, and you let it marinate on Amazon. Faceless videos are a very lazy one too, because you see this right here? That's my face. That means I'm here right now. I'm not AI. Faceless could be an AI face. We're really getting confusing here. Faceless just means not your face. Sorry, I've got polishing compound on my fingers. That's my AutoSmart. It broke this morning. I had to fix it. Faceless videos mean not your face, meaning you use AI to make a face. You pay somebody to put on. One of the best examples of this is I saw one where a guy put on a mask, a COVID mask, and he just makes mannerisms. And he's paying someone to do that. It's not the owner of the channel doing that, I don't think, at least. He's paying someone to do that, to emote. You can pay people to write scripts, to edit, to do whatever. And that's your faceless video, and it's very lazy. And if you have the right niches, for example, stuff that is evergreen, so I don't know, best Super Bowl performances from the 1980s, the history of Enron, stuff like that, things that are in the past and are not going to change. 1 minute. I hope you're still here. I hope you didn't go away. I have to drink water. It's hot out. Niche specific courses. For example, I would not do a course that has life or death consequences. I would not do foraging for mushrooms because they might die. I would do things with low liability. How to resell DVDs. Lawn care for idiots. You know, that kind of stuff. Things that are easy to do. Niche specific courses. So how to get started. You know, you can go on, what is that? Udemy. You can go on udemy.com and see a bajillion courses that are all like $20 and they're all garbage. But just because they're bad courses doesn't mean that the person who made them wasn't smart, or at least smart enough to figure out what a good niche was. Go on there, find what courses that you have any knowledge of, and just rewrite it, make it better. Take the course and then make a better version. Is being better lazy? You know, maybe I'm pushing against the boundaries of the definition, but copying someone, that's lazy. So copying but better, like, sorry, I know you can't be a total sloth, but copy plus better is lazy. That's not bad. Lists for businesses. Okay, so here's what I've sold to businesses. All the gyms in America, all the tanning salons in America, all the independent bookstores in America. Lists that I wrote a scraper for that scraped through the internet and found all these different lists on yellowpages.com, on Google Maps, on Chambers of Commerce, and created lists that I then sold to businesses, people who had wanted to sell them stuff. They do, you know, lead creation. They use those for lead creation, or they use them as lead lists. As, I don't know if they're cold lists or warm leads or cold leads. I don't know, but they use them for that kind of stuff. You could go a step further and say, here's all the nursing homes. Nursing homes are big spenders for lots of stuff because they're highly regulated. So if you're selling to a service-based company who's marking up their time massively and their employees' times, ideally, they will pay more for leads. That's lazy, right? You're just writing a program that scrapes the internet and then you're selling these things. Problems with this. It's hard to... People think that you're a scammer. They don't think the lists are good. They would say, why do I need a list of every nursing home in America? I have a business in Michigan. But once you have those relationships, and if you can deal with the broker, even better. You'll make way less money. But that's a good way to get established in the industry. And then, you know, after a few years of doing this, you're no longer a data list seller. You're a data company yourself. I didn't say that right, but you get what I'm saying. There are big versions of data sellers, and they're all doing the same thing. They're just scraping the internet for specific niche lists. Public domain anything. Public domain means stuff that you can sell. The protections on the intellectual property or whatever have expired. Let's say this postcard is from 1905. Let's say it's a photograph from 1905 and just, you know, of a scene. Most likely, I could take that image, slap it on a tote bag, and sell it. Similar to the visual merch. It's number one, but different because there's also books, there's music. You could, you know, you could train AI to play public domain Christmas songs or hymns, Christian hymns, stuff like that. public domain goes a lot beyond just images. You could even be taking movies and doing something to the movie to improve it. So you write a very basic program that enhances and upscales video, and you upscale public domain video, you put it on your own YouTube channel. Very lazy way of doing things. There are businesses built around selling public domain movies. Look, I think it's called like Gold Oldies or something like that. There's some DVD company. I don't know how they're doing now, but back when people still bought DVDs and Blu-rays, they were just selling old stuff that either bought the rights to or the rights had expired. I think one of the most recent things that expired, to give you an idea, is like Popeye, pre-spinach. What does that mean? Well, certain things can be protected. Like, for example, Popeye eating spinach. That is not public domain. Popeye, the character, is. But if he's in the context of eating spinach, you can't sell that. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. The estate of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle tried to argue that a relationship between the two, the camaraderie between the two, was they could have that protected. I don't know if they won or they lost. I think they lost. They may have won in England, but I know in America you can write a Sherlock Holmes story and they can't do shit about it if you just write them and you put them in your own unique scenarios. That's public domain anything. You see how lazy that is? Am I making things up? No, I'm not. They are lazy. The next one, I have a list right here. It's like a podcast. It's like you're watching a one-person podcast. Private label anything. Here's a list of things I've private labeled. Not a complete list. Beef jerky. Gummy bears. Pencils. Notebooks. Knives. That's not a complete list, but that's all I'm gonna. That's complete for things I've talked about. Some other stuff that I'm not gonna talk about because I'm still working on it. But in the past, I have private labeled all of those things. I'm not doing it anymore, so obviously it wasn't like massively successful. But that's probably on me. I probably should have focused more, and then sold the businesses when they were at their peak, as opposed to me thinking that it was going to be, reliable income for years and then ignoring it, and then something goes wrong and, kaput. Private labeling is easy because most likely the person you're going to buy from, the company you're going to buy from, has a catalog of things that you can private label. For example, when I was private labeling candy, I thought about private labeling vitamins. You got to have balance in your life. Candy and vitamins, right? And it was a company in Alabama, I believe. Couldn't remember the name for the life of me. But they had a catalog of like 500 different supplements you could private label. They have them all in their factory. They put your label on there. That's the private part of the private label, and then you just sell it. I thought about private labeling CBD products for a while. I'm glad I didn't. The market collapsed, but there are things like that you can private label. And it doesn't have to be. I prefer consumables because then people are going to want to buy more. They're going to get on and do subscription plans, and that's much more reliable income. Much more lazy income. But you can do other stuff too. You could do tents or axes. Who knows? Pre-purchase passes. When I say this, I mean, like, remember when Cybertrucks, it was like $500 to hold your spot to buy a Cybertruck? Not to buy the truck, actually, but like your spot in line for the first, to be an early adopter or whatever. People resold those. They put down $500 and they sold them for $4,000. I don't know what they sold them for, but they sold them for a profit. You can just sell your place in line. Now, there has to be an extremely high demand, but you can do that. That's very lazy. How do you find these? I don't know. Watch the news. Like, what is everyone talking about? Are they doing a pre-sale? Can I buy several? That should be your thought process. Bolo lists. This is a resale specific one. I've done this before. Back when I was selling Dollar Tree DVDs on Amazon, which was a surprisingly good thing to do, I would sell bolo lists of what DVDs were in Dollar Trees that were profitable. Now, not every Dollar Tree had the same inventory, so having a list made sense. You could pop around to 10 or so in your location, buy all the DVDs, and then FBA them for, $500 profit or whatever you would end up making. They don't have to be DVDs. You can do a bolo list of whatever. I don't know what's popular right now, but a while ago, Squishmallows were popular. And if you knew what Squishmallows were worth the most, you could make a lot of money. For video games, it's a bit more. What you're doing is you're saving the person the time of them looking up things individually. So stuff if you're at like a thrift store and you're looking through video games, probably it makes more sense to scan everything. But let's say sporting and good equipment. Not a lot of people know what the best brands are for that, and so buy a list of like, here are the drivers from the past 5 years that all go for more than $200. Somebody could buy that for $5 or $10, save themselves a lot of time, and then when they go to garage sales, they have their cheat sheet right there. I think selling this digitally makes the most sense because you're either going to fulfill it from like Gumroad or Patreon or something like that. You could, I guess, make it a physical list or like email it to somebody as an attachment. I know it's not physical, but this type of product really bodes well for any kind of online transaction. NFTs, obligatory, had to add it. They're stupid, I think. Have I made money off NFTs? Yeah. Are they popular now? No. Might they be popular in the future again? Inexplicably, yes. It's a speculative market. I really don't like a lot of things about it, but I'd be lying to you if I said you can't make money doing that. How much money have I made selling NFTs? More than you would think, actually. Not a lot, but guess how much money I've made selling NFTs, because I know the number because I've only sold 3. They were NBA Hot Shot. It was the NBA NFTs. If you can guess how much money I made, the person who gets it right or who gets closest by end of the weekend, by Sunday night, I will send you this Vlade Divac rookie and this Arkansas Rashad Dubignon card and this Dan Wilkinson Pinnacle Trophy Collection card. I'll send them in a plain envelope. You'll get these 3 cards. If you can guess how much profit I made selling NFTs on my 3 transactions, you'll win $4 worth of cards. What a great deal. Niche spreadsheets. I don't know if this is still a thing in the resale world. It might be. But for a long time, people were selling like accounting lists. Like put in what you sold and then use the drop down to figure out what the what marketplace it was sold on and what's your buy price and what state are you in, and it would tell you how much money that you made. I never bought those, but they sold for like 20 or 30 bucks, and you could easily sell 1,000 of them. So think about what niche you have an interest in, what industry you're in. What are some mundane calculations people in those niches make? Format it, give it a nice cover, and try to sell online. Use the same strategies. pose your product in a position where it makes sense for the smart person or the whatever person to buy it from you. And you just might have a very valuable digital product. And then finally, member-only podcasts or videos. Taking the back half of a podcast you film or the back half of a video and walling behind Patreon. You're not directly selling it, right? So it's maybe I should just say Patreon memberships in general then. But you have to have something behind the paywall to make it worth it. And typically it's going to be two things. One, access to content, or two, a community with leaders. 2.5 things. Someone has to be there who runs the group. If you can do it where the members run the group, you're the laziest person I know. Congratulations. I respect you so much. But you might have to come in there and answer questions, once a week. Have I done this? No. I need to. I need to do my own member group and figure out the laziest way to make money off of it. What are your lazy ways of making money? Are you too lazy to type them out? Bye.